going on, guys? Alex here with 814 EDC, and today I'm ready to do my full review on the Kizer Knives Escort. So this specific Escort variation or variant is in the burlap micarta with sort of a high polished stonewash blade, being 154 cm. There is the Kizer logo. I believe that says 154 cm up there. Over here you have the Escort, and then that is a Dirk Pinkerton design logo, because of course he designed the Escort. You have a loop over style deep carry clip that has a little bit of sculpting going on. You can switch at lefty or righty carry, which is nice. And of course you have the clutch lock here, which is Kizer's version of the axis style lock or crossbar lock. There is some standoffs going back there. Of course, they are shadow box liners, so you guys can see them up top there and on the bottom. As for internal milling, there are 3 cutouts on both sides, which is nice. Knife is on bearings, and dual thumb studs, of course, right there. And this knife also comes in a couple different variations, but this is being the newest. This came out with the burlap micarta in the stonewash and a black wash blade. But they also have come out with this knife in, I believe, a like red or maroon rich light color with a black DLC coated, I believe, 154 cm. And the original Escort was a 20 CV bladed black aluminum scaled version for a little bit more money. I think those go for like 170. The rich light went for 109, I think, and these 2 burlap micarta versions go for $89. So kind of a hitting all the price points, you know, sub 100, right over 100, and closer to 200. Different, different levels of different things. But yeah, this is kind of been a Kizer. I've been on a Kizer kick recently. With the pass around, I still have this in technically. I still have in the Kizer Kvist designed Veritas, which I need to do a full review on, which you guys will probably see later this week. I just bought a Kizer Drop Bear from Kevin. And what else do I have in from Kizer? I just had a couple of stuff in from Kizer. So, it's nice because Kevin, of course, this is a lefty pass-around knife. Kevin gets in all the new stuff every month from Kizer. Then after he reviews it, he in turn puts it in a pass-around for all of us other YouTubers to check out. So that's how I've gotten to check out a lot of different Kizer models. And again, I always appreciate that, Kev. If you're watching this, I always really do appreciate getting to check out stuff from you, because you just put so much stuff out there for us smaller channels that typically don't get to check out stuff like that all the time unless you buy it. But Kizer has really stepped it up recently. I think they have a fantastic lineup, and they have some really, really good models, some intriguing models, all for very, very fair prices. The Veritas, I think, is a fantastic knife for a fantastic price. So I'm excited to do a full review for you guys on that. Like I said, that'll probably be later this week. But we're talking today about the burlap micarta 154 cm Escort, and I think this is a fantastic knife as well. If you guys saw my unboxing of I just stuck it in my nose for some reason. If you guys saw my unboxing of the Drop Bear that I just bought from Kevin, I talked a little bit about comparing this with the Drop Bear, and I was waiting to get this in because I had heard a lot of good things about the Escort. So I was waiting to get this one in before I made a decision on which one I wanted to buy, because I really, really liked the original Drop Bear that I got, and I had wanted one for the longest time. But I've heard so many good things about this, and I wanted to get it in hand, check it out, and do all that fun stuff before I made a purchase on whichever one I decided to go with. Obviously I went with the Drop Bear, but that's not to say that this knife is not fantastic in its own way. There are some things I think I like a little bit better about this than the Drop Bear. I think that this blade shape, as much as I like the Drop Bear blade shape, this one is just so usable and so just ready to work. But ultimately I went with the Drop Bear, just, size. I like the size of it a little bit better. It's just, I don't know, something about the Drop Bear draws me to it a little bit more than this knife. But again, that is not to say that the Escort is not a fantastic model. I think it's really, really good. And yeah, so we're going to get into the review. I already kind of gave all the specs and stuff like that and different variations of it. So we're going to jump right into action. But of course, starting off with action, this is rocking the clutch lock from Kizer, which is their version of the ambi bar lock or crossbar lock, whatever you want to call it, or axis style lock if you want to use Benchmade terms. But the cool thing about the clutch lock is if you take off the scales, there are, I think I said 3 in the drop bear video, but I took those off and strengthened the springs. There are 5 holes under here, so you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that allows you to strengthen the detent on any clutch lock knife that Kizer comes out with, which is really cool because it allows you to kind of get a detent on a knife like this, which most crossbar lock style knives don't come with detents, just because you just kind of use the pressure of the spring to fly out of there. And again, I mean, this isn't like, you can still fail this knife pretty easily, as you guys can see right here. That's exactly what I'm doing. And I haven't taken this apart. This is a pass-around knife, so I really didn't want to take it apart. So I don't know if these are in the strongest position or not. If I had to guess, they are, because this is a Kevin knife coming from Kev. So I'm sure he strengthened it as much as he could before he did a full review. So it kind of gives you that, sort of customizable feature about this knife, which is really nice. But thumb studs, thumb flick works very, very well. Just flies right out of there. Has a nice sound to it. Very nice acoustics, especially when you consider it's a micarta knife. Typically micarta kind of deadens sound, but I don't know if it's, kind of proud liners. I don't know if that sort of amplifies it, but middle finger flick also is very, very nice. That was my fault. Flies right out of there. Very fun to fidget with. You can, of course, slow roll it, which is, it's okay. Works decent, but I, most oftentimes I'm not. Thumb flick this, or my thumb was on it. Middle finger flick it. Now the closing, no blade play at all. It's locked up very, very tight. You guys can see. Just pull it back, and it drops right home. Really, really appreciate that, and I really like how Kizer has been able to come up with a lock that has really good rigidity, but just allows it to drop home like that. Because a lot of times, like with my Benchmade bug out, I'd have to have the blade a little bit loose and able to get decent action. Otherwise, I will just sit here and pull it back. And actually kind of what it's doing right now, it won't drop. But that was just the way it's being held. You can also open the knife like this if you want to use a little bit of your wrist, but I don't tend to like to do that in public. It's just not, kind of boistery, I guess. I don't want to draw attention to myself by flicking open a knife and being like, oh, look at me, I have a knife. But yeah, very fun to fidget with. Just great sort of detent on here. No complaints at all. I think it works very well. It's very, like I said, fun to fidget with. So action is very, very good with the Escort. Next up is ergos. And ergos, this thing fits my hand really, really well. So the overall design of the knife is very, very simple. Of course, you pretty much have a straight line back here, tapers off a little bit on the butt of the knife. Down here, it's also very, very straight. And then, of course, you have a finger groove. This kind of has a landing choil up there, which you can use. But starting off choked back, pointer finger in the groove, rest of my hands, rest of my fingers follow suit. I can still probably get a fifth finger on there if I had a second pinky. I'd have plenty of room. My thumb falls right here on the jimping, maybe a little bit above it, but kind of right on the middle of it, which gives you a very good grip. And again, that blade shape is just very, very simple, very, very utilitarian. Comes down to a pretty thin edge, decently, kind of right in the middle, but on the thinner side of medium when it comes to blade thickness, I think. Just this knife screams user. The way the blade is shaped, you have a nice thin edge. This just screams like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to work and I'm going to bust my ass and I'm going to do what I need to do, cut what I need to cut, and don't say anything back, don't back talk. That's kind of what the type of vibes that the Escort gives me. Then of course you can choke up, so middle finger in the groove here, last two fingers following suit, and then I have my pointer finger wrapped around, excuse me, the sort of choil area up here, which is very, very comfortable. Then you get plenty of room out there. You could probably fit 2 or 3 more fingers on there if you had a very, very mutilated or messed up or, alien hand. But then your thumb lands the whole way out here, which gives you very, very good control for push cuts or if you're cutting around or through anything that you need to be very, very careful for. This locks it in, feels very, very comfortable. The micarta, this is a pass around knife, so it's kind of taken some oils from different people, and it's, nice and soft to the touch. I'm not a huge burlap micarta fan. I tend to go with the canvas micartas. So this is probably not a version that I would buy. I'd probably maybe go for the Rich Light, but then again, you have to take the DLC coated blade, which I like the way the stone wash is, kind of a polished stone wash. But even though I don't really like burlap, this has a good feeling to it, and you can tell that people have carried it, people have used it, people have loved on it. So it kind of softens it up a little bit, but very, very comfortable. And again, very similar to the last review I did of my Sea Otter. Just a very simple knife, very utilitarian, just sort of aimed towards being a comfortable, all around, easy to use work knife. And I think that's what the Escort just sort of amplifies and screams, and no complaints at all in the ergo department. So next up is Carrie. Excuse me. I realized as I was starting to film these videos, I did not have a drink up here, so my voice is getting a little hoarse. Apologize for that if you guys are able to tell that, but this video is almost done, so I should be okay. But of course, you have a sculpted loop over style deep carry pocket lip there that can be switched over to lefty carry if you are a lefty, which is nice, which makes sense, given the fact that this is a fully ambidextrous knife with dual thumb studs and the clutch lock. But fits down in your pocket. You do have a little bit of the knife sticking up out of the top here, just the way the handle is shaped, but you pretty much, it goes to the butt end of the knife. No complaints at all there. Sits down in very nice and deep. Right here, it is all nicely rounded. No sharp edges. Also no jimping, no flipper tab. You do have a little bit of jimping, but that's not gonna, cause enough harm if you happen to go down beside the knife to get change, chapstick, medicine, anything like that. You're not gonna be at risk of pulling, when you go to pull your hand up, you're not going to be really risking your knife kind of getting pulled up with you and up and out of your pocket. The jimping, you'll just bounce right off of that. But I've carried this in khakis once or twice, and I think gym shorts a few different times, just around the house. And even though the knife is, I think the blade is like 3.3 inches, so it's a decent, not a small knife. But you do have a little bit of internal milling, so it kind of helps with the weight. I'll find the weight exactly right here. Yeah, so blade length is 3.31, so I was close on that, pretty much dead on. Weight is 3.81 ounces, so that's a very good sort of size to weight ratio. This being a pretty full-size knife for me personally. I think the weight is great. The fact that it's kept under 4 ounces, sits in your pocket very well. You can't even really tell it's there. So no complaints at all with carry. It's very easy, very concealable, and just all around, a good knife, which will lead me to my final category. Excuse me. One more category, I can get through this. To my final category of price point and what I recommend this knife. So I can absolutely recommend this knife. I think this is one of the better Kizers I've handled in a while. Execution was killed on this knife. Fit and finish, top notch. Action, top notch. Ergos, top notch. Materials. I could go for a canvas micarta version instead of a burlap micarta, but that's to each their own. You guys might love a burlap micarta. So I can recommend it every day of the week and twice on Sundays. I think between this and the Drop Bear, Kizer has a very, very good rotation and a very, very good sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of not flagship knives, because I don't think they're there yet, but I think for, as far as ambidextrous thumb stud and crossbar lock style knives go, for Kizer specifically, I think the Escort and the Drop Bear are two fantastic models, and I think they can be very, very, close to being considered flagship models for Kizer. Because when the Drop Bear, dropped, it just sold like hotcakes, and they have come out with so many different variations of it, so many different, I don't want to say so many different exclusives, but a couple different exclusives, and I think the Escort can be in the same fate. I can't wait to see, maybe a frag tie version of this. I think that would be very, very cool. I think that would be, sort of different and cool. I think a fat carbon version of this. I have not done that yet, but they've done that and some other different, like Drop Bear has a fat carbon version. I think this would be really cool in a fat carbon version. But I can recommend it all day. Like I said, $90 for this. $90 for both the burlap micartas. Actually, there are 2 different ones. I'm sorry. So I was mistaken. There are actually 5 different variations. I was looking at White Mountain knives, but they are all sold out. But then I just found on Knife Center this specific version. So there are 5 different versions. You can get a black micarta handle with a black blade, a green micarta handle with a looks to be stonewashed as well, and then you have the Richlight and the aluminum handle one. So all 3 micartas are $90. The Richlight version is $109, and the aluminum version with 20 CV is $170. So I think all those are fantastic. Even the 170 version for 20 CV and aluminum, I think that's very, very fair. Richlight is pretty much the same as micarta, so I don't know why that's $20 more than the micarta versions, but it's whatever. So if you're looking for a micarta version, I think $90 is, right up in the wheelhouse. Very, very good price of this. So yeah, nothing really to say. I think Kizer's been killing it recently on the fit and finish, and a lot of their knives have been really, really good recently. I've certainly enjoyed getting to check them out and getting to put reviews out for you guys, and I hopefully will be getting to check out quite a bit more in the near future. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this up, guys, but this was my full review on the Kizer Knives Escort in burlap micarta and 154 cm, of course, with a polished stonewash blade. But leave a comment down below. What are your guys' thoughts on, not only the Escort, but Kizer clutch lock knives in general? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And like I said, I did find that was really weird. I did find a link to Knife Center where this is in stock, so that'll be left in the description down below. But I'm going to wrap this up because I need to go get some water. I've talked for almost 40 minutes with no water. And yeah, so thank you guys again so much for watching. I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you guys. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your morning, day, evening, whenever you're watching this. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.